So what did I learn from my millionaire students that's literally added 6 figures to my business? I'm going to break it down for you right now in this episode of the Unlock Success Podcast.
This is the Unlock Success Podcast. We're helping entrepreneurs around the world dive deep into the keys you need to shatter excuses, believe in yourself, and help you achieve your highest goals. Here's your host, 8-figure entrepreneur and the living legend of internet marketing, Anthony Morrison.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Anthony Morrison here, and welcome to this episode of the Unlock Success Podcast, where my goal is to help you just with a little bit of information each week that hopefully helps you unlock some success, not only in business, but in life in general. Being an entrepreneur is about being a well-rounded person. It's about succeeding at every level, in every moment, in every way. Everything affects us as entrepreneurs. You got to think about it. If your health is diminishing, it affects your ability to be successful as an entrepreneur because it affects the way you think, the way you move, the way you feel, right? If you're having trouble at home, your relationships aren't great, right? Your relationship with your wife, with your children, if it's not good, that affects you when you come to work. It affects the decisions you make. It affects how you feel. It affects how you think. It affects everything about who you are, right? If we're not doing good in business, if we're having trouble at business, guess what? When we get home, it affects how we treat our wives, our family. It affects how we treat ourselves, right? We can turn to alcohol, to drugs, to partying, to anything to get rid of or get away from the depression of not succeeding, because as entrepreneurs, it's what we do, right? We succeed. We measure our self-worth based on how much money did we make yesterday. Not how much have we made in the last 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. No, how much did we make yesterday? Because we have short-term memory, right? Like we only see today's results. And that's what we measure ourselves by. And that is a very, very, very difficult thing to live up to, right? When you have to succeed every single day in order to feel good about yourself, right? And my goal with this podcast is to shed some light on how I think, how I've accomplished getting to a place where I'm always right here, right? Even if my business is up here, I'm still right here. If my business is down here, I'm still right here in the middle. How do I do it, right? And what have I learned over the years that have helped me in relationships, in business, in my health and wellness? What have I learned and how have I learned to do it? And I'll tell you, on this episode, we're going to break down what I learned from my millionaire students. But if this is something that you feel like you would enjoy, if you're on your favorite podcast app, make sure you favorite the podcast so you don't miss it. We put out a new episode every Thursday, and of course, I would love if you'd leave me a review on your podcast app, whether it's Apple or Spotify or whatever. And of course, if you're on YouTube, just click the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash the like button just to let us know you enjoyed this topic in this episode. But today, we're talking about what I learned from my millionaire students. And this is what I think is interesting. I think as we scale and as we become more successful, we forget to keep learning, right? You always hear people say, I'm always continuing to learn. Yeah, but you're learning from people at your level, right? There's this weird shift that happens. When we have no money, we want to learn from millionaires. Once we've made, say, $1 million, we don't want to learn from the people making $1 million anymore. We want to learn from people making $10 million. Once we get to that level, we want to learn from people that are making $1 billion. We want to learn from billionaires. We don't want to hang out with people making $10 million anymore because they can't teach us how to scale. It's not possible. All of that is a flawed way of looking at networking and at learning. Completely flawed. I've made over $100 million in our business. And I've learned more from my millionaire students, the students that are making $1 million, than I have from some of my business partners that are making $10 and $20 million a year. Now, why is that? I'm going to tell you why. Because to make $20 million a year, and right now I'm talking about in the digital space, right? Like digital courses, consulting, that kind of stuff. You have to have systems, right? You have to have a system. You have to have a machine that's doing this for you. You scale so big, right, that you start putting other people in places for you, right, that are doing things for you. Because at $20 million, I can't do it all myself. So I have other people that are doing it for me, right? We call these teams. Now, the people on my team are obviously not as good at marketing as me, or else they would probably be me, right? So their brains don't think the way that I think, and they're good at a specific task, but they're probably not as good at that task as me. Now, as a collective, if I have a team of 15 people doing things for me, then certainly when you lump it all together, I'm probably better off with a team of 15 people doing things 90% as good as I could do each one than me trying to do 15 things by myself, right? But if you were to silo each thing out, the copywriting, the email sending, the webinars, the VSLs, the long form pages, the ads, if you siloed all of that stuff out and just put me against them, I'm going to win most every time. Because it's what I do. You see what I'm saying? Like, I am a good marketer. But I have to hire and train people into these positions so that you can scale. So why am I saying I learn more from millionaire students than from people like me? Because most people like me have people in training all throughout my business doing stuff that I don't even have the visibility on. I'm not really looking at it on a daily basis because I'm spread too thin. My millionaire student is still doing everything themselves. So they're diving deep into every little thing that they possibly can. They're striving at a much, much greater level to reach that $1 million than I am to reach the 20 million, right? So they're going to find things and learn things and know things that I have no clue about and never would, because I'm not digging deep into the weeds on each one of these aspects of my business. I got somebody else doing that for me, right? I'll give you a case in point. Joshua Crisp. Joshua, I hope you listen to the podcast. Joshua Crisp bought our Digital Marketing Academy coaching program and our mastermind. So he paid $25,000 to come to our mastermind. And great dude. I mean, just great guy. And I had no clue who he was at all until he purchased. So he enrolled in our mastermind. I started looking at what he was doing. He's doing great things. I mean, this guy's super successful, right? Awesome stuff. Start digging into what he's doing. I've taught him a lot of things. Machines. I've taught him how to build a machine, right? That's what you can ask him. That's what I taught him how to do, is build a machine. What did he teach me? He said, Anthony, at the end of every one of my webinars, I've tried selling a $1,500 product, $2,000 product. He said, I always invite people to join one of these micro continuities that you taught me to build. So I taught him to build little products that are $7 a month, right? Inexpensive. Everybody will take them. They're benefiting everybody, and it lets you still make this person be a part of your ecosystem, your business. He said, at the end of every single webinar, I just run a promo for the micro continuities. He's like, it's added 6 figures to my business. I'm like, oh, how have I not done this? How have I not thought about this? Why have I not thought about this? If somebody has sat on a webinar for an hour, 2 hours with me, the price of the product's $1,500, they're still there, but they can't afford that. It's a stretch for them at the moment, but I still want to help them. They still need help. I could say, hey, by the way, there's this $9 a month newsletter that would really help you. Check this out. Everybody would take it. I never thought about that because I quit going deep on my webinars and monetization of them because I'm too focused on the machine. See what I'm saying? The machine, not each individual piece. So if you are a successful person and you're making a lot of money, my advice is hang around people that are still successful. right? Not like complete beginners that have no clue, but people that are still successful, but they're not quite at your level. And I'm telling you, they're in the weeds. They're learning a lot. And the stuff that they can share with you, you can implement into your machine, right? And it exponentially grows your business. We've added a ton of revenue to our business doing that one thing. And there are so many other things that we have learned from our students that are making $1 million, right? Not 20 and 30 million. So don't discount and discredit the people that are making less than you just because you feel like they know less than you. That's not always the case. Hopefully this message helps you to think a little differently and connect maybe with a different group of people that's going to help you grow your business. If you enjoyed this episode and you enjoyed the topic here, please leave me a rating on your favorite podcast app, wherever you happen to be listening to this. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, and make sure that you join us every Thursday for the Unlock Success podcast.